cream of tomato soup is as it says on the tin. It is a creamy soup. We're going to use, again, we like our broth, we're going to use the contents of the soup to thicken the soup. In this case, we have got carrots, onions, we've got butter, we've got tomatoes, we've got the stock that we prepared earlier, but this time we're going to blend the soup prior to service. So, with nothing further to do, into my pan, I'm going to add some butter, and I'm going to add my mirepoix of vegetables. So in here I've got some carrot and some onion, all nicely finely diced. I'm just going to lightly sweat them down until they're good to go. Again, making sure that all our vegetables are all cut the same size, so all take the same amount of time to cook. A mirepoix is our roughly cut veg, but although it's described as a roughly cut veg, we want to make sure those vegetables are all the same sort of shape, at least. Not necessarily the size, but the same shape, so that they cook at the same amount of time. Having sweated down our onions and carrots, I'm then going to go in with some nice juicy plum tomatoes, and I'm going to stir them in. They come with lots of liquid, there's lots of moisture in there, so it's about roasting them off, giving them some time to roast in the pan, to fry in the pan, to mix amongst the onions and the carrots, and to start sweating down a bit. Our tomatoes, onions and carrots have now had a good 10 minutes cooking time. They started to melt down, they started to reduce down. Into our soup mixture, I'm just going to add a little bit more tomatoey texture, a little bit more colour. So I'm just going to add a small teaspoon of tomato paste and give that a little bit of a stir up. Have a mix of tomato paste in. I'm going to gently fold in some plain flour, which will give us that little bit more thickness when we come to finish the soup at the end. So again, it's important we get that mixed in properly, making sure that there's no flour undissolved in our tomatoey mixture. This will be, we can, if we want to add additional flavours, we could have added some garlic, we could add some streaky bacon for that little bit of bacony flavour. But today we're making this purely vegetarian, so I'm using some of the vegetable stock that we made earlier today. So into that I've got a litre of vegetable stock, which should be sufficient for this dish. Slowly add that in. Nicely, gently stir it up, bring it up to the boil. Incorporating it all in, making sure there's no lumps of flour anywhere. All stirred in nicely. We're just going to put that to one side, allow it to simmer. Put it to one side, bring it to the boil, allow it to simmer with our bouquet garni before we blend it at the end of the cooking time. Our tomato soup has now been simmering for a good 15 minutes. I'm happy with the colour, I'm happy with the consistency. Now what we need to do is blend our soup. So using the stick blender, I'm just obviously going to check it works first. Making sure when you do use stick blenders, you check it over first for any damage, any problems with it, and away we go. So nice and gentle to start with. Nice and gentle. Having pureed the soup, I'm now going to finish it off by passing it through a conical strainer to remove any leftover pips, skin, etc., so that the soup is nice and smooth, before finishing it with a drop of cream, and obviously ensuring that we season it accordingly with a little bit of salt and pepper. using the back of the ladle just to push that soup through the strainer, leaving behind any of our unwanted pips and pith. We've now passed the soup. We've got the consistency we want. We now need to finish the soup. Again, just got a little bit of a taste just to make sure that our seasoning is correct. Obviously I haven't seasoned it yet, so it is important we season to taste. A little bit of pepper. A little bit of salt. And as is a cream of tomato soup, I'm just going to add a luxurious swirl of cream in there, just to bring it to a nice consistency. Add a little bit of cream and luxury to the dish. Cream of tomato soup.